As you do know, maybe I have no speech, but I will answer all your questions. And I must say, excuse me, I am very tired because it was just before there was another talk, and it was very interesting because there were many questions and I had to talk a lot. So please, if you would be kind enough to ask me, I would be very pleased. So I don't know who will start. Connie, maybe?
Oh, questions about Judaism. Yeah, this is our subject. It is the oldest of the three Abraham religions. Do you think that it is like the grandmother of all the other three religions, or just like a sister?
I think it is the grandmother, but I am more talking about the Second World War, I must say, because I'm not, I don't know much. You do know much more about Judaism than I do, I must say. I say it openly because it has no sense to say another thing than the truth, and I am always telling the truth.
But your quality of being a Jewish person has influenced your fate quite much in the time of the Second World War. Can you tell us how it was for you to be a Jew in those days?
Yes, we were second class during the war. We couldn't, I was thrown out of my school and was lucky that in Brno, that's my hometown, that's in Czechoslovakia, in Moravia. Have you been ever to Prague? No, never. You have to come and I will come with you. You have been to Prague, of course. It's not a question for you. But I am from Brno. I had never been to Prague before. I moved there only after my studies and am now for more than 50 years in Prague. But I was from Brno and was a normal schoolgirl when the Germans occupied our country. That was on the 15th of March 1939. And from this day, everything changed for the Jews. I couldn't go further to the school, was thrown out of the school. We had to leave our nice flat and were in a sort of ghetto in Brno already, where three families who have never seen each other before lived in one flat. Each of the families had one room, so we were four of us, father, mother, my older brother and me in one room, and we couldn't go shopping whenever we wanted. There were certain hours for shopping. We had to wear the yellow star with Jude, and that was the worst because we were second class at once. Even I had many friends who were very nice to me and didn't dare to meet me. I did dare to stop them in the street because it was not safe for them and not for me. And so we thought there could be nothing worse, but it came, of course, much worse. We were in one of the first transports from Brno to Theresienstadt, and each of the transport had a letter, and everybody, each of us had a number. And my transport was called U, so I was U59. We went all day and all night to Terezin, to Bohušovice. Terezin was still a town of 7,000 people who lived there with the military. There were many barracks, therefore it was useful for the Germans to put us there. And we came, we went all day and all night, always 1,000 people with this huge transport. And when we arrived, so each of us could have just 50 kilos of luggage with everything, with clothes and food and books and so on. And as we came in a bitter cold winter there, in January 42 it was very, very cold, so we could have more on, clothes and coats and so, than the others who came in summer and couldn't have coats. And when we arrived, there came some people who were there before and helped us with the luggage. We were at once divided. Father and my brother came to another barrack, and my mother with me to so-called Hamburger Kaserne, because each of the barracks had a name after a German town. There was Hamburg, Hanover, Dresden, Bodenbach, Aussig, and so. And we couldn't get out of the barracks only for work. And everybody from 15 years of age had to work. And I was just 15, so I was always in the agriculture, what was the best there, because I was in fish air. There was not more to eat, but the air was fish, and otherwise in Terezin the air was terrible, because there were so many people at once together. As I say, 7,000 formerly, and afterwards there were 59,000 people, what is quite incredible, and 29,000 died there. My mother, she was 50, died there. My grandmother died after a fortnight there, and many, many people died there, and the others, many were sent to the east and were murdered there. My father went to Auschwitz and was murdered there, but we didn't know about it. We just did know that it would be worse in other camps than in Terezin, but that it is such a factory for death, we didn't know. Only after the war. My brother was also sent away, but he survived, and we were two of the whole family who survived and were together after the war. But it's not Judaism, I'm sorry. It's my story.
It is linked to Judaism only because you belonged to the Jewish community. These things happened to you. When you were in the camp, did you ever talk about Judaism with your family with other members in the barracks, or was life so hard that you didn't even have time to think about Jehovah, praying?
No, right you are. There was a hidden Gebetsstube, how is it?
A prayer room.
A prayer room, a hidden. We didn't know about it at all, and it was discovered only many, many years after the war. And now, if you would come to Terezin, I would like to be with you there, if you come there. So you will, people are led to this hidden prayer room. But it was just for the, there were the houses who were together, so it was just for these nearby houses. And nobody did know about it because it was forbidden. And it were mostly German Jews who were there in this prayer house. I think the Germans were more pious, dass sie mehr fromm waren als wir.
Pious, yeah, more strongly
More,
believed.
yes, than the Czech.
Organized.
Yes, than the Czech Jews. But I must always repeat, when you are young, so it's much better, of course. I don't know how in my age I would be there. I think the same because I feel very, very good. But I had 4 times my birthday there, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So I couldn't go to school there, of course, and after the war, I had to do in 1 year 4 forms to be educated. And I was young enough to do it. And but I have got many discussions with our rabbi about religion and so.
After the war?
After the war, of course, after the war.
Yeah.
In the war I was mainly with sheep.
With sheep?
With
Yes.
sheep. I was a shepherd. I will show you photos which are unique as... Oh, thank you.
Does everybody know what a rabbi is? Rabbi, rabbiner. Rabbiner. This is the teacher of Jewish religion. Yes, pastor, teacher.
Yes. What I'm looking for?
The photos of
Yes,
the
thank you. I am sclerotic, you see. And that's my friend, a bishop. That's a school fellow of mine, and he died, sorry. He was a bishop of Leitmeritz. And here are the photos, you do know
people,
them.
Yes. When were those photos taken?
This was illegal in 43, when I was 17.
43. These
43.
are original photos of 1943.
Yes.
So they are 72 years old,
Yes.
the photos.
It was 2 years before the end of the war.
And you were 17 at that
I was
age, so you
17
can
and now I'm
calculate
89.
Almost 90.
I will be next year 90. But I don't feel like that. I must say. It's even for me very strange to be so old. But time flies. Yes, please.
Are you religious?
I must say that not. I am sorry to say, but I don't lie. Thank you.
And,
No, and I am asking, where was God when all these bad things happened? So excuse me, but
Yeah.
I can't lie. Where was God? Where was He?
and before
That
the,
He did allow everything.
yeah, and before the Second World War, you are religious or not?
No, I was too young, and my parents went to the synagogue, even my grandmother, and I was there once, but I I think I didn't believe even then.
Yeah.
And as I say, I don't want to do anything wrong, but I don't need a higher power for it.
I have a question.
Yes,
The
please.
people you lived with during the war, you said that there were 3 families in 3 rooms. Were they religious or were they starting to lose their faith?
No, I don't remember, thank you. I don't remember anybody who was religious then. No, we were young girls together and we didn't even talk about it. We did talk about the former life, how it was beautiful and how it is now, but I don't remember it. Maybe I forgot it, but I don't remember it clearly not. And there was a hidden synagogue, and there were mainly German Jews going to the synagogue because there was a block for German Jews, and they were. They didn't know, even the German Jews didn't know where they are going to, because they had to pay for a beautiful life in a beautiful house, and then they came to Terezin and everything was in another way, of course. And I have never seen any, but I do know about it because they lived in another block. If you come to Terezin, I would like to go with you and I will show you where they lived. But as I say, I never have seen any. And they were mainly older people because the younger were away, emigrated or something
Earlier,
like this
yeah.
earlier. And as my family, concerning my family, my parents wanted to send my brother, who was 5 years older than me, they wanted to send us to England to be safe because my auntie from Vienna lived in England. She emigrated to England in time. But I am very glad, I must say, that it didn't succeed, because I would think all my life that I could have helped my parents if I would have been with them. I know I couldn't, but I wouldn't know it. So I was glad not to go to England, and my brother survived as well. He was the only one from all the family and me who survived.
Did he survive in Terezin or in Auschwitz?
In Auschwitz, and then he was in Fürstengrube, that was an Außenlager von Auschwitz, and he was very much working and was ill, but he survived and came back. And that you can't imagine how it was. We didn't quarrel for 1 month, maybe. Yes, please.
How many members of your family you lost in Second
all of them. My grandmother, two of my uncles, one had two children, about 12 people from the near family, 12. And if you come to Terezin, there are lists of people of transport and how many survived. It was always 1,000 people and 2 survived, or 3 or none. It's a terrible lecture there. And I think it changed my life, but with religion, I'm sorry, it has nothing to do. I don't lie you. Yes, excuse me.
It's okay.
I didn't see you.
Wie haben Sie sich wiedergefunden? Ich kann es nicht
Sag es, was sagst du?
Wie haben Sie sich wiedergefunden? Also Sie und Ihr Bruder?
Mit dem Bruder.
Did you meet your
Über
mother
der,
again?
yes,
Yeah,
it
that's
was,
an interesting
thank
question.
you, it was through the Red Cross. Because at the Red Cross there were the lists of all the people who survived and who died and so on. And he didn't suspect that I was alive. So, and he found me in this list, and we met only in June. The war was over in May, and we met in June. And as I say, you can't imagine how it was.
Did you recognize him, or had he changed? And had you
No,
changed?
no,
or you
it
recognized
was
him
not
immediately?
such a long time,
Mm.
because he had to go in October 44 to Auschwitz, and it was in May that we met.
Yeah. So but he must have lost weight and.
He did lose weight, but we of course recognized each other, and it was wonderful, I must say.
Yeah.
And he was the only one. I don't know what would have happened to me if I would have stayed with the gendarme. Did I tell my... No, excuse me, I had just before you someone where I told it. I was a shepherd, as you know, and it was nearly the end of the war. And we were guarded by Czech gendarmes, that are policemen in the country, are called gendarmes. And they were changed always after 3 months, not to become too friendly with Jews. And as we did know, and everybody did know, that the war will be soon over. And there came a new gendarmes there, and one of those asked me where I will go after the war, when I was with sheep at the crematorium. And I said, I have no idea, because I haven't got anybody and I don't know. And he asked me if I wouldn't like to come to his home, that he had a daughter who would have been in my age and died. And I said yes, but I didn't believe him. And then the war was over in a very short time, and there came a jeep who took prisoners from us and from the small fortress. That was a Gestapo prison nearby Terezin, and took me to his hometown, Kostelec nad Orlicí, it's called, in the mountains. And there I found a new home. It's such a story, a unique story. And they were not very pleased, I must say. His wife was not pleased at all when I came, because she didn't know anything. of me, but then it was a very good relationship, and he was the witness at my wedding, and my small son was in their home when the Russians occupied our country. And until now they are dead, of course, a long time. And they had a nephew whom they took as a child, and he was 2 years old, and now he's a grandpa, and they are still my family. All of them call me auntie, and I'm going there. It's a very nice story with a good end.
How did you meet your husband?
In Prague after many years. And he died a long time ago.
Yeah. Was he Jewish?
He was, no,
Just-
not at all. And he and my son, our only son, married an Indian girl. And I say that Hitler would be mad, he was mad, but would get mad how the races mixed. Yes, please.
Have you maybe stayed friends with somebody you met in the war, even just through letters?
Once more, please, excuse
Have
me.
you met somebody in the war? Are you maybe friends with them even nowadays?
Oh, thank you. Of course, who is alive and who was a friend then is a friend for all the life. Certainly, because under such circumstances, if you get to know someone and be friend with him, so it lasts. And we have got an organization which is called the Resin Initiation, and there we meet. We are so few now alive, because now I'm 89 and I was young then, and it's 70 years after the war. But we meet and we have a magazine. I am the editor of it, and it's 3 times a year always, and it's very interesting. So we meet.
I think we should leave you some time to have a sip of water. The glass
Oh,
is
yeah,
in
thank
front of
you.
We forgot doing that.
Thank you.
There are youth organizations for people of your age who would like to volunteer in former concentration camps like Terezin
Yes.
or so, and then you can work there for a couple of months or a year, taking care of the old barracks or giving information in different languages, taking visitors around and explaining everything, and that would be a good chance for you if you...
That would be.
Yeah.
And they are mainly from Austria, there are people. And for 3 months they are working there and caring of old people as well. And I do know them, they are very nice, and in Terezin they are, and in Prague as well, and in Brno maybe as well too. And I will give you my address, and if you come to Prague, so I would be glad to meet you. I mean it. And here I love it here. I'm here, I was here many times already, and always it has another character, the meeting, and always there are very nice and interesting young people. I like it really. I know it's funny that you think that I am old, but I don't feel like this, and it's funny. As I don't go to any doctor, so I'm healthy. I can't talk about illnesses like my generation does.
Because you're always in contact with young people,
Yes.
that keeps you
Yes,
young.
certainly.
How is it for you to meet
An
a
old
real
lady.
living survivor?
How is it for you?
Of a concentration camp. I mean, having heard what Doris told us, you all think of pictures you saw of concentration camps and imagine a girl of 17 years living there for 4 years, not celebrating, passing 4 birthdays. How does it feel for you?
I think of the book Anne Frank's diary that I've read. And
Anne
I've
Frank,
also
yeah.
read another book about the same story about Jews in the World War II. It's called Hannah's Suitcase. About
Oh,
Hannah,
yes.
yeah. So I feel like I'm in that book right now.
I am glad that you read this book. See, that's a moving story. Do you know this, Hannah's Suitcase?
No, I know Anne Frank's book, but not Hannah's Suitcase.
No, that is about Therezin and Auschwitz. And I did know her, I didn't know, but her brother I did know.
Really?
Yes. And he lives in, I don't know if he's still alive, but I met him 3 years ago in Prague. He lives in America. And 3 years ago he was there. We have to kill this fly.
It's not just
Catch them.
It's terrible. There was an old lady who swallowed a fly. Do you know this? We don't know. Oh my, she swallowed a fly. Poor old lady, she's sure to die.
And in the book, Hannah's Suitcase, I remember because I read it like 2 years ago, so I don't remember it clearly, but basically there was this teacher from Japan, I think, who
Yes,
tried to make contact with the museum to
yes,
show the kids that Hannah really existed.
Yes.
She really went through it.
and she was in Terezin. I met her, this teacher, this Japanese teacher. It was some years ago. It's about 5 years, I think. Jidohaye. I am glad that you read this book.
Yeah, my name is Hannah too, so that's how I found it by accident.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I read some of the biographies from some girls, I don't know the name. But did you talk very much about this Second World War, your history? Did you talk very much?
Now, yes. After I'm retired, I have to talk much. Before, not. And it was not before our Velvet Revolution, as you know, they didn't talk about Jews at all in our country. It was...
But did you
Pardon?
Did you write your biography?
Yes, it's somewhere. I had to. It's in the Jewish Museum and in Terezin as well.
Yeah, I find it so interesting because some girls there was younger than me, and I say they had so much bad experience. And when I read this, it's more specific. But when it's in history class, it's only talking the teacher, and when it's a biography, it's a real person. So it's more.
I must say it's not easy for me to talk about it, but as we are so few, and it's such a long time ago, and that it must not be forget. So it's my duty to talk about it, I think.
And it's our duty to listen to you.
Oh, I'm very, very moved that you are listening to it, certainly, because not all the youth is interested,
Yes.
Of course,
And some
nowadays.
young people say, oh, come on, stop it. This is 70 years back. We've had enough of it.
Yes.
And then they forget and start again with discrimination and violence
And we thought then that it couldn't be again, or it couldn't be once more such things. And sorry to say that nowadays it's all over the world the same.
Question: how did you feel when the war was over? Could you fit in a normal life again? And what was that feeling?
Thank you.
That change.
Thank you. It was very hard because I was there all my youth, from 15 to 19 years. That's the youth. And it was, and nobody of my, just my brother survived and nobody else. And I, oof.
somebody's hungry. Very hungry.
And so I was very lucky that I could finish my studies, that I was young enough to go to school again. With 19, it was not.
What did you finish?
I had to finish my secondary school, gymnasium, and then I studied at the University of Brno, Masaryk University, English and philosophy. But I was never a teacher. I had to teach, but I didn't teach. And what are you doing? What do you do?
I'm a student.
I know, but what do you study?
I'm a Catholic grammar school
Where?
in Banja Luka, Bosnia.
Yes. It's
There's 7 Catholic grammar school centers in whole Bosnia and Herzegovina, and I'm one of that.
and how long is it?
I'm in 4th grade now. In the 4th grade.
And then you will be.
I will study somewhere, probably Austria or somewhere,
Mhm.
Germany.
And then what will you be at the end?
At the end, maybe a manager or something like that will help my father in his company.
And you?
Yeah, I study again, and I'm on my final year in school. And after it, I want to study to become a teacher for history, math, and sports.
I study at grammar school in Vrchlabí, and then I don't know what do I want to study, but I know that I want to help people and work with children. But I don't know what will be the best university or something, so we will see.
You?
The same as
The same. You are spolužáci.
Precious years older than me.
And you?
I am in economic class. This is my last year in this school, and what I will do later, I don't know.
And how long will you study? How long is it that you will be finished?
It's my last year.
And you? They are together.
I'm with him from Benelux. I'm also in the final year, and I will study mathematics and physics, and at the same time, because I can do that at the university, I will study also philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm interested in those two subjects.
I am so pleased to be here with you and to hear. I'm really very that you are so, all of you, interesting and interested, and I am very glad always with young people to be together.
You're such a dear person.
Pardon?
You're such a dear person.
Thank you.
Everybody loves Dora, and everybody remembers Dora and always asks, how is she? Will she come again? Will she be there again. Hope to see you again.
I'm always very glad to be here. I hope I will come again.
Yeah. When you met your brother again back in 1940?
In June only, in June
Yeah,
45.
yeah. Did you then have the feeling, oh, thank you, God? Or was God
No, for me,
no idea
God
for you?
was. Where was God?
Yeah,
No,
yeah, that was
I must
this
say
emptiness.
that not.
Mm.
And as I don't lie, so I must say the truth. No, but it was such a wonder to meet him again. And as I say, everything what I am, it his I
You
seine, no, I don't know it in any language now, excuse me. Everything was his, he did everything for
your
me.
brother.
Yes,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
brother.
You owe everything to him.
Yes, I do
Yeah.
owe him everything. And I'm sorry he died when he was 79. And he was 5 years older than me. But he was always more clever, of course.
Yeah. Do you have the feeling or the belief that you will meet him again after life, or that you will meet your family again, or do you think it's
Sorry, no.
no? No.
I think that it's against your belief, maybe, but I think the life ends here.
For everybody, yeah. And that's okay. We appreciate very much that you give us your honest answers and really open your heart and your mind to us. Yeah, that's what we need.
Then I wouldn't remember what I said before, so I'm always saying the same.
Yes. Would you like to discuss the question, where was God in Auschwitz? Where was God in the concentration camps?
That would interest me very much, what you do think about it.
Well, I agree with your opinion. I also believe that life ends here. And that is why I also believe that there couldn't have been any God when there was a war.
Because so many innocent people were murdered and had a terrible death and died, and they didn't do anything wrong. And some of those who were very bad and wrong, they survived, and until now they are acting so bad. So where is the justice?
Anybody else? Because this is something I'd like to know too.
I mean, I can can't understand that because maybe at the beginning you have the that belief and that God will solve that problem, but at some point you lose just the trust in that and see the truth that that's no hope for you in that moment. I think that's the reason because many people lost their hope and freedom and everything else in that few years.
Bernadette, we were just trying to discuss the question, where was God in the concentration camps? And Dora said she would like to hear your opinions about it.
That's the question. Where was he?
Well, my answer is God is not responsible for what happened in those days. God is not responsible for all the bad things that happen today. It's the people, the politicians and the single people. Each and every one of us is responsible for what is going on in this world, because God left us the freedom. And if we ask this question, where was he? We imagine a God that was present in some form, whatsoever, Godfather, the beard or so. And if anybody asked me, where was God? I would say he was so shocked by what he was seeing there down in Terezin and in Berlin and in Auschwitz. And he was so angry with his people, with the Christians, the Lutherans, the Protestants, and so that he turned away his face and said, how can they do that? It's so terrible. They must solve it, finish it as soon as possible, and then start getting new hope. And he only, in some people's hearts, in very few people's hearts, he left a small grain of hope. And these people could cling to this hope, but many had the feeling God is turning away his face, because men are able to do so horrible things.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yes.
I think God should protect people who was non-content, but the people was in this camp, so should protect and should be with these people, but I don't know what God not helping them.
I agree with him because there were a lot of innocent people who were praying to God that this stops. He couldn't have just turned away from them. He could have closed his eyes to what is happening, but he can't turn away from the prayers that people were sending him.
Yeah, he did not turn away from those prayers, but he could not take away the power of those who had the force, the violence to do the bad things. It's exactly the same today. Well, why should God stop them? We have to stop them. We have to stop all those who still do war against against each other, against nature, against human rights. We must stop them. There is no military power in heaven. Our God is not the policeman of humanity. He just gives us moral orders or recommendations, and if we do not follow them, and if we do not protect the innocent, he cannot do it. He needs us. He needs humanity to...
But there is one God for all the nations, or are there more gods? No, there is just one.
Yeah. It's so easy to say God should have protected the innocent. Huh? How should he do that? Do you have any practical idea of how God should protect the weak and the innocent people today? God should protect nature? How? How should he do it? Only with our hands.
Last month I read the book Angels and Demons by Dan Brown, and there was some dialogue between the young boy and the priest of someone like that. And the boy asked, how is it possible that there is a lot of suffering and all of that? And he told him that it's the same like when you have a son and he rides bike too fast and you know that it's dangerous for him, but you let him do it because you want maybe something will happen, but he will know that he shouldn't do it anymore. So maybe I like this idea a bit because there's something about it.
Yeah, this father does not stop his son from riding too fast.
But
He
the boy will know that he can't do it anymore.
We should learn from our
Yeah.
mistakes, but
Yeah.
people just through years keep repeating the same mistakes. They keep starting wars and killing innocent people.
People will never change, that's the question.
Not fundamentally, yeah.
Yeah, I asked me the question, where is God? Because my family is really religious, and my grandmother is one of the nicest persons I know, so like you do with your grandmother, and she has sorry.
Willst du es auf Deutsch sagen? Fällt dir das leichter?
Also eine Galge. Ja.
Sie hatte vor einem Jahr einen Schlaganfall.
Und lebt sie noch?
Ja, und sie
Oh.
kann nicht mehr reden, nicht mehr sprechen und alles.
Hm.
Das habe ich immer gefragt, wo war er da?
Was hast du sie immer gefragt?
Wo war er da?
Ah, ja, ja. Mhm.
Und wie alt ist die?
Wie alt war deine Oma?
73.
73.
Das ist nicht alt.
Yeah. Bernadette was trying to say some time ago her grandma had a heart attack or a stroke, and now she is unable to speak or to move, and Bernadette asks herself, why did God not protect her? Yeah, and there we are. We cannot blame it on God. It is biology, it is medicine. I think this is the best example of showing that God is not there to prevent a heart attack or a car accident. Or, you see, we had in our school we had teachers who had a newborn baby, and this baby died after 8 weeks. Just stopped living. It is the sudden crib death. You know, maybe you know this phenomenon, that some babies, a small percentage, die in their baby beds. They just fall asleep and never wake up again. And the grandparents never asked, why did God do that to our little grandchild? It's not God who did it. It is biology. It is life. You have the feeling that this is very unfair, especially the young mother of the baby. The young mother was a student at our school. We know her, maybe you know her, Dorothee Meisig. Yeah? And her baby just died 8 or 10 weeks.
I think, I'm sorry. I think that if that isn't happening all of time, and then life would be something like paradise, and then people could have some hope in them and some belief. They couldn't choose. They will be always happy, and if there's no sadness, that there isn't happiness.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's just my opinion.
that's a good explanation. Life on earth is not paradise. It's not.
No,
It's
not
always
at all.
a contrast. It's day and night. It's black and white. It's male and female. It's war and peace. And in the old Bible, there are psalms who say there is a time for everything. There is a time for laughter, and there is a time for weeping, and there is a time for love and for hate. The Bible says so. There is a time for building up and for destroying. We have to accept it. And
No, we have to fight against
Yeah.
the evil.
Yeah.
We have to. Because if you do not do anything, so the world is, no.
this is our reason for living, to fight against the evil and to make the world a better place. This is one reason for living. Another reason for living is to enjoy. Yes, but if we think fun, and shopping and drinking and smoking and music is the only reason, that's not enough.
No.
Then we will be disappointed sooner or later. Fighting for the good thing is much more rewarding and much more satisfying than just consuming the good things of life. By the way, I learned that when I went to the Bosnian Civil War. Really, I saw the differences, and believe me or not, I was a teacher at that time already, and I could only go to Bosnia during my holidays. Now the summer holidays are quite long, 6 weeks, I had time enough. And after returning from Bosnia, I had the feeling these were the best holidays of my life. It sounds a bit ironical, but best in the sense where I really did something useful, something helpful, and it rewarded me. When I came home and I told my friends, that they said, "You are stupid, you are crazy." Even my husband said, "You are crazy," and he did not come with me. He went as far as to Venice, Venezia. He waited for me in Venezia. I went on the whole Magistrale and Bihać and Mostar and Sadar down to Sarajevo, and came back, thanks God, with my guardian angel. And the stories that I had to tell then were much more fascinating than all the other stories of my colleagues who went sailing here and camping there and things.
And you went by car?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The first time I went with my small car only, and then it was packed full with presents for women and children. Presents that I had collected from my pupils. When I came back, people asked me, and even the papers, the media asked me about it, and then they said, "Let's do it in a big action all together." So the second time we had a big lorry full of technical equipment and sewing machines and bicycles and buggies for babies and so on. And the third time we had medical equipment. That was during the war until 1995 when Dayton.
From 92, from 92.
Yes, yeah.
It's really amazing that you've done that, and we also, it's really satisfying for us that we're on this seminar and that we can, on our country, which is a great example to show people how war can affect badly, because we see the differences after the war even nowadays, and
Yes.
I think we will feel them even in 20 years. I mean, just a few
We can
days
see the
ago,
marks.
just a few days ago, before we left for Marienthal, they removed a bomb from the World War II under the bridge in our city.
World
It's
War
in
II.
the central bridge.
Oh,
Yes, it's the
Under the
central
center.
bridge. They had
Last
to
year we
evacuate.
had flood.
a flooding.
Flood.
We have flood, and because of that, the bomb came out of the river. She didn't explode it at 500 kilograms bomb.
Now that he mentioned the flooding, I volunteered for 3 days when there was a flooding. It was really enormous, and I think that is the only time in my 18 years of life that I've seen the people on the Balkans connected again. We were really helping each other. There were no boundaries. It didn't matter because people like I remember the first day I volunteered. Like I went to this outer part of the city. Houses were completely destroyed. Like people were sitting on the ground and crying. And but after the floods, like after we cleared it out, after we helped the people, it went back to the same thing again.
Yeah.
But mostly the youth was volunteering because only the young people see how important it is not to judge people.
We went with our school teacher. 2 days. We were volunteering after school, 6 hours, 7 hours. We were cleaning the houses, the streets, everything. I brought, I think, 3 or 4 big pallets of plastic bags
Bags, yeah.
for everything.
So this World War II bomb was lying in the
Under
river.
the mud, in the river.
Yeah.
And after the flood, it came out.
Yeah. So would you say God protected you for 70 years? He protected you from this bomb. He made the bomb not explode. He hid the bomb under the mud to protect you, your community, your city from damage.
It was not the only one. There were a few other bombs, grenades that were took out of the river.
I'm asking a provoking question. Would anybody say God protected you? Would you believe that?
I honestly don't believe in God,
Yeah, I mean, it's nonsense. It's sheer nonsense to say that, isn't it? That this bomb did not explode. Was it God's protection? Does anybody believe that? Believe that?
Not really.
I believe.
Yeah, it is a belief. Okay.
You do.
It's just your way of seeing it. And if you feel good, if you say that this bomb did not explode and destroy your city and your lives, is a sign of the goodwill of God. Yeah, it's your belief. There is never a proof. Nobody can say that. But then we have a God who protects and who does not protect in other situations.
May I add that back to the floods, because I just wanted to say something else too. I woke up one morning and on the news they said that there was no school because of the floods, and we thought that the floods weren't big. I mean, just the school was closed for a few days. It happened before. And then I went out of my house and I saw that a restaurant on the other side of the river, because I'm near the river where I usually go eating, I couldn't see it at all. It was completely covered. And people were taking in other people who have lost their houses. So Serbs were taking in Muslims and the other way around. So it's like, it was really nice to see, even though it was because of the floods, but it was really nice to see that people finally helped each other and closed their eyes on that religion topic.
Yeah, it was pretty hard because my house is on the other side of the river, and every family member of mine is on the other side. Just me and my brother. It was a Sunday, and my brother and I were the only ones. And at morning, I think it was 10 o'clock, my mother came and said, "Pack your bags," and we go to the other side to my grandparents. And we went over the bridge. The river was so high you could touch it. Normally it's 20 meters under you, so it was pretty high. there was a, she actually said near me was another restaurant, and there was a beach and football terrace and everything else was all under the water, minimum 10 meters under the water.
Yeah, young people would wait in the center of the town during that week to get a task what to do. And when we were volunteering, we had to wear those masks and suits because it was.
And there was so many volunteers, we couldn't.
There were too many.
Too many volunteers for that. Mostly our students.
But it hit the whole country, not just our city. And city, especially Doboj, was completely destroyed.
And the whole town was underwater. So I think 5-6 meters water.
There are a lot of videos that people shot from their windows, where you can see that the level of the water increased in 1 minute, like so fast. Like a whole parking lot was gone in a minute.
And some died. Some, yeah.
But they, of course, didn't tell us how many people died during the flood, so that it wouldn't cause panic. But I mean, you would volunteer and you would just see a body coming out of the water, so it was really horrible.
You just see a house, a man comes to the house, and the house destroys itself because of the water and everything else. And then because in our country, I don't know here, but in our country, when you make a house, you make it for 3-4 generations. And you just see it go away. It's pretty hard.
There were a lot of reports on the news of women who had to give birth, but their house was flooded, and nobody could help them. Like, they would wait for 2 to 3 days for a helicopter to get them because all helicopters were taken.
But do you think that's the will of God, such a thing?
No, of course not. No,
It happens.
it happens, yes. And God does not punish anybody and does not protect anybody. He has nothing to do with it. It's nature. It's simply nature, and we cannot push this responsibility to him, but God can help people to get through it.
And to hope.
Their belief, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm afraid that
Thank
we
you very much.
have come to the end of this round now. It's 12 something, 5 minutes past 12 already, and at 12:15 we are supposed to gather for the group photo.
Gruppenbild mit Dame.
Gruppenbild mit Doris, yeah, around the fountain with the column there. So we must already leave.
Time flies.
Time flies, yes.
And flies are here all over.
Yeah.
I'm getting on the nerves.
I hate the flies. I thank you.